Hello and welcome to UPSC Scholar. Today we'll be discussing the current affairs from 7th of August to 13th of August. We'll be covering it from the Indian Express newspaper and we'll be looking at it only from our exam perspective. So let's begin. Our first current affair is from polity. You all would have seen no confidence motion was passed and successfully defeated, and it was so much of a political discussion that I could not find anything useful for our exam. It was totally a political discussion for 3 days that happened, and both the parties, that is opposition and the ruling party, they both put it the allegations on each other, and nothing productive came out for our exam. Nothing a statement or a stat, nothing came out. So I don't think we need to discuss about it. So that's it. Next thing is big backlog. High Court judges should take turns to go on a leave. House panel. So recently, a standing committee on personal public grievances, law and justice stated on its 133rd report. It was also the recommendation of former CGI RM Lodha. The committee said that High Court judges should take turns to go on a leave. In India, approximately the leave for the judges is approximately 7 weeks, 7 to 8, 9 weeks. And so the committee has recommended that High Court judges should be taking turns to go on a leave in order to tackle the high pendency of cases. And in order, because when you take a leave, and although there are vacation benches, but when you take a leave, there is always an inconvenience to the litigants. And also, the committee said that court vacations are a colonial legacy because it is happening since the time of the British. So we need to have a strategy in order to tackle the high pendency of cases, and also a strategy which does not cause inconvenience to the litigants. So what if this recommendation is being implemented? So courts will be constantly open and the benches will always be available to hear the cases. The benches are still available, namely vacation benches, but they are still, it causes a lot inconvenience as compared to the regular hearings that go on the regular days. So there was this thing that government is also working for some changes in the vacation schedule. It is not out yet, but they might be reducing it. And the panel also found it that on an average, High Court sits for around 200 days per year, and it recommended that it should be sitting on an average at least 222 days per year. This is it. Here is a very important stat that I found it that in India, the courts are the highest and the longest performing amongst all of the countries in the world. And in India, what happens is they work for 190 days, 95 days is in off, like government holidays and this all stuff. And then 80 days are vacation, approximately 7 to 10 weeks. It is in vacation, depending on the vacation period. So this comes total 365. And whereas United States, they are the least performing. Can you imagine the world's oldest democracy? वहाँ का सुप्रीम कोर्ट सबसे कम दिन चलता है 79 days approximately on an average. They don't hear that much. So although हमारी population से अगर compare हो तो हमारा बनता भी है हम we should be the longest sitting court per year. So this was it. These are some very important stats. The next thing is there is this Article 370 hearing going on, and I think that the daily commentary that is going on, we don't need to cover about it. Yeah, we should be having an idea what is in the news. So that's why I discuss. And when the final judgment will come from the Supreme Court, we will be discussing it in detail. So Article 370 hearing. There is no question of referendum in Jammu and Kashmir. So recently, what happened was Kapil Sibal, the he is appearing from the litigant side who have filed a petition against the constitutionality of the Article 370. So he asked that why not the referendum was conducted in Jammu and Kashmir. He said that it has been done unilaterally by the center without the people of the Jammu and Kashmir agreeing to it. He also gave the example of Brexit. But the CGI of the Supreme Court has said because India is a constitutional democracy, we still have trust on our institution. Seeking the opinion of the people directly is not the way that it goes in the constitutional democracy. Seeking the opinion of people has to be going through established institutions like ECI, पार्लियामेंट क्योंकि ECI जो होता है वो इलेक्शन करवाता है पार्लियामेंट में हमारे इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स आते हैं वो पब्लिक के ओपिनियन पे ही आते हैं the public's opinion, the public's trust is being represented on its representatives, that is MP, MLA. So we have trusted institutions, and whatever decision they take, we have to be trusted upon. So that is why ECI, Parliament, these are the institutions in the constitutional democracy on which the opinion of the public, on which the people have their trust, people have their vote. And coming to the Brexit, Brexit was more of a political decision. As far as I know, the Conservative Party, the Boris Johnson party, it took it, and the Labour Party was not in totally favor of it. So it was more of a political decision rather than an administrative decision. And also, UK has an oral constitution. So nothing is written, nothing is specific. They can make laws as per their suitability. And also, India is an in form of example of indirect democracy, as we discussed. We don't seek direct opinion of the people, where they send their representatives. Unlike Switzerland, where the direct demo means Switzerland is the nearest example for a direct democracy. You would have seen a few years back there was this referendum in Switzerland regarding burqa ban. In France also recently there was a referendum a few years back for burqa ban. So these are the things that in which the government seeks opinion directly from the people. If we want to see at the historical examples, how referendums have happened. So in Junagadh happened, the referendum happened. Sikkim happened, Northwestern Frontier Province happened, Pondicherry, Sylhet. So these all are the historical examples when referendum was conducted in India. Northwestern Frontier Province में तो ये at the time of independence, before independence it happened, and Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he said that you have thrown us to the dogs because Congress boycotted it and it was a Muslim province. So that's why Northwestern Frontier Province. It is currently in the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And as per what is said, that INC did not wanted to have a satellite center or a satellite their possession, as in like East Pakistan. That's it would have been very difficult to administer. So that's why Congress did not supported it and did not seek the support of the people. So that's why referendum they seek it went to the Pakistan side. And Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was really angry with Indian National Congress. The next thing is CAG has reported 7.5 lakh recipients linked to a single number in Ayushman Bharat scheme. Ayushman Bharat, as we all know, it's a flagship scheme of the center in which they give 5 lakh rupees insurance to every eligible family. So, see, there are a lot of reports regarding CAG audits and a lot of irregularities being reported. I have attached it downwards, I'll tell you. So, first of all, let's look at a basic of CAG. CAG, as we all know, it comes in Article 148 and is responsible for external and internal audits of the national and state governments of every financial year. He is appointed for 6 years and he cannot be reappointed. So he places three reports. You would be knowing this: report on appropriation account, report on finance account, and report on PSU. So what was in Ayushman Bharat? In Ayushman Bharat, over 7.5 lakh recipients were registered to a single mobile number, 1.5 lakh to another mobile number. So this was the thing, and you would have seen that in when the registration happens in the cyber cafes or in these kind of small centers, they would have registered it on same number. Either they would have to fulfill their targets or the people won't have provided their numbers. So the thing is, it would be an issue if someone lost their ID, suppose if someone lost their Ayushman card, and then mobile number acts as a very important tool to search your ID pack. But if you have put it a single mobile number on all the 7.5 lakh recipients, so it would be really difficult to find any individual's ID. So that is why it will be causing a great inconvenience and delay in the services to the public. CAG has highlighted this. So that's why we need to look upon it. And the National Health Authority has taken the cognizance of this issue and agreed with the audit observation and said that the issue shall be resolved very soon by they will be updating some system. We don't need to delve into the details. See, we all know this particular incident or this particular issue is not important for us either from the prelims perspective or not specifically from the mains perspective. No one is going to ask कि इस issue में क्या हुआ था और कितने मोबाइल नंबर थे कौन से में क्या मोबाइल नंबर था. No one is going to ask. But हाँ, mains answer writing में it would be really helpful. We can write that we CAG recently highlighted the irregularities and discrepancies in the Ayushman Bharat scheme See, these are a few more examples. It highlighted the discrepancies in the Dwarika e-way case. It also highlighted the discrepancies in Ayodhya development project, and it also found out that center had diverted funds from pension schemes to publicize other programs. We don't need to look at it the everything or every issue in डिटेल कि कितने करोड़ का हुआ क्या हुआ कैसे हुआ we don't need to look at it. We must be knowing कि द्वारका ईवे प्रोजेक्ट था अयोध्या डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट था and some funds were diverted from pension schemes to publicize other program. This was it. Next thing is, see, there is an issue going on in the parliament when the National Capital Territory of Delhi bill was passed. So four MPs complained that the Raghav Chadda, the MP, Rajya Sabha MP of Aam Aadmi Party, which is governing the Delhi. So he took or he forged the signatures of four MPs for signing into the select committee. So that is why an investigation has been set up and the matter has been referred to the privileges committee. You all would be knowing there are 12 standing committees that are permanent in nature, but select committee is of an ad hoc and a temporary nature. And the matter in which this issue has been referred to, the privileges committee, it is a standing committee and it is a permanent committee. So what is select committee? Let's look at it. What is the issue? It is a type of ad hoc committee, temporary, only for specific purposes, and then dissolved later on. Any member can move the motion that will be referred to the select committee. So, Aam Aadmi Party's Raghav Chadda moved the motion, and if adopted by the House, the select committee is set up. So, members are named during the motion, and only upon their will, the members can be appointed in the committee with their consent. So, here is the catch. There is nowhere written that the signatures are necessary, but there is a convention कि अगर आपको किसी की सहमति चाहिए और so members can be appointed in the committee only with their consent. So signature acts as a form of consent. It has been a convention, although it is nowhere written in the constitution or the rules book that you seek to have signatures for being in the select committee. So if joint select committee is appointed, then there at the formation in it there is 1:2 ratio. If suppose there are three members, so one would be from Rajya Sabha and two will be from Lok Sabha. The chairman of select committee is selected by the vice president, that is chairperson of Rajya Sabha. And for any meeting to begin, there should be a quorum of one-third people should be present. What does select committee do specifically? They investigate bill, they perform a detailed scrutiny on the bill, and then form a final report, which is recommendatory in nature. It means the government can choose to accept it or reject its suggestions and recommendations. It is not binding on the government. So this was the issue, select committee issue that is still happening in the government and the parliament. And as per now, Raghav Chadda, the Aam Aadmi MP, has also been suspended until and unless the investigation is cleared. So next thing is Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award. So this prize has been put on hold by the government since last 2 years. It is the one of the topmost science honors in our country. It Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Award. He was the founder of Center for Scientific and Industrial Research. He was the founder of this. He was the director and he was the founder. So it is on his name. It is the country's top annual science prize, and this is specifically very important for under 45 aspiring scientists who is engaged in research in India. It is given in seven fields. You should be knowing it, but this is very important fact. We all have seen that how UPSC has now started asking about awards also. In this year question paper, there was question about Dronacharya Award, Arjuna Award. So awards also become really important regarding our exam. So just take a note of this that it is under 45. But this is really crucial. So what is the government's stand? So government says that we are working on a new structure of science award. We are working on the rationalization of the award, and we need to rationalize this award also under 45. We need to include more people in it. But because of this age category, there is some issue which has yet not been resolved. We don't need to look at it in detail. So what is the main problem? The thing is अगर आप science awards को restructure भी कर रहे हो तो why are you restricting the CSIR's autonomy to give awards? Let the award be continued unless and until your rules are clear, and when your rules will be cleared you can just change the system. आपने even in 2022 the members were announced but award was not given, and in 2023 still there are no relaxation and there is nothing new update from the government. So this is really discouraging, and for the people who stay in India, who are very crucial for us, because a lot of our aspiring scientists and our science brains, they go to foreign or abroad for research purposes. But the scholars who stay in India for research will be quite discouraged from it, and this could result in country losing the promising talent. As last year, 300 awards and fellowships were also discontinued by the government. So we need to look at it. We need to arrest the brain drain and continue the awards again. It should not be stopped like this. The next thing, appointment of election commissioners. So this bill was introduced in the Rajya Sabha by the Law Minister. Supreme Court in March 2023, in a landmark judgment, had said that the committee which is being formed to choose chief election commissioners and election commissioners, it would be consisting of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. This was the decision by the bench of K.M. Joseph. It is also said that this will be a provision until a law is enacted by Parliament on the appointment. So this was made very clear कि ये एक temporary provision है unless and until a law is being established by the Parliament कि कैसे election commissioner को चुनना है. Now, since the law has been put on the Parliament, the bill has been put on the Parliament, what is the new provision as per the government? There would be Prime Minister, there would be Leader of Opposition, and there would be a Cabinet Minister, which would be nominated by Prime Minister. This is the catch here. This is totally the center's autonomy here, because even we don't know the rules that how the final decision will be taken, whether it would be the voting or whether it would be a unanimous decision. But if there would be voting, so Prime Minister and the center's choice would always make a way because they are in majority, 2:1. So there was a very important article from our former election commissioner S.Y. Qureshi. I looked at it and it was quite useful for our exam. So let's look at it. So, Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioner, appointments of service term of office bill 2023. ये बिल का नाम है. So, one more thing that we need to look upon is कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जब अपना जजमेंट दिया था मार्च 2023 में, it said that we should lay emphasis on the independence of ECI and a collegium should be formed. Collegium means जो हमने ऊपर डिस्कस करा ये Prime Minister, LOP and CGI. It was the collegium recommended by the Supreme Court. But for as of now, there is no collegium in this bill, the new bill introduced by the government. There is a new addition in it. There is such committee. It would be consisting of cabinet secretary and two other members not below the rank of secretary in the government, and they will be preparing a panel of 5 members for the consideration of the selection committee. Selection committee, this one. This is the selection committee. So they will be suggesting 5 names to the selection committee, and it would be done by in the presence of cabinet secretary. One more thing is to be seen is that there was no rule prescribing the qualifications for appointment to the post of election commissioner and chief election commissioner. So that was a really a major matter of concern with risk of appointment with some any other person. So now the CEC and EC will be of at least a cabinet secretary rank officer, and he should be experienced in the election management. He should know how elections are being conducted. So now so this qualification criteria would be looked upon. The next thing is there is an issue of partisanship and autonomy. See, when an chief election commissioner and election commissioner is appointed, it is always look like that he is favoring one party, or his decisions are always tilted towards one political party. So there is always an issue of partisanship and autonomy. So what the author says that if there would have been a CGI presence that could have kept a check on executive, there would be no yes man that would be saying to the executive, and judiciary would have kept a check on it, because तीन हमारे जो पार्ट होते हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मेंशन्ड है, लेजिस्लेचर, एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड जुडिशरी. जुडिशरी सेपरेट अमंग ऑल. CGI नहीं लेजिस्लेटिव का पार्ट है, नहीं एग्जीक्यूटिव का पार्ट है. So that's his presence would have kept a check on executive. But there were also, he has also raised the question that if CGI's presence would have been there, so there would be an issue ki how would be CGI knowing the knowledge of that person? He is in judiciary, and how he would be knowing the capabilities of the officer. And the second thing is, suppose if CGI is in a collegium system in which prime minister and leader of opposition is also there, and he has appointed someone. What if that appointment is being questioned in the court again? Will he be the judge on his own case? So these are the issues. ECI is questioned for very long in our country also, and also in other countries. There, according to some world poll, only 50% of voters are reported to have confidence in the honesty of elections. While in the USA, because when this Trump and Biden saga happened, that the elections were stolen from the Trump, the voters' confidence is at an all-time low of 40% on the elections. And in the same way, Election Commission of India is also being questioned regarding the scheduling of the elections favoring one political party or the ruling party, regarding the following of MCC guidelines, Model Code of Conduct. So these are the questions being raised on ECC always. So the author has suggested the solution for it, that unanimous decision taking, सर्वसम्मति से जो निर्णय होता है ना कि वोटिंग से, बिकॉज वोटिंग में तो ऑब्वियसली एवरी टाइम सेंटर वुड विन बिकॉज 2:1, इतनी टू मच डेमोक्रेसी नहीं हुई है कि जो कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर है ही माइट गो अगेंस्ट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स चॉइस. सो यूनानिमस डिसीजन होगा, एंड इट शुड बी सेटअप एज अ प्री कंडीशन जिसमें कि सब एग्री हो रहे होंगे, तभी एक जने को चुना जाएगा. बिकॉज सिलेक्शन कमेटी हैज गिवन यू 5 चॉइसेस. कोई एक तो ऐसा इंसान होगा जिसमें तीनों जो मेंबर्स हैं कमेटी के, दे वुड बी एग्रीइंग अपॉन. So this should be added as a precondition as per the author. So the one more thing that is a new provision in it is this bill seeks to protect the two election commissioners from removal. अभी क्या होता था, election commissioners can be removed on the recommendations of chief election commissioner, although it is not binding on the president, but they are being removed only on the recommendations of chief election commissioner. But now the protection has been given to election commissioners also from the removal, making them equal to chief election commissioner, and now their removal will also happen as like Supreme Court judge. This has been a long pending demand. So this was it. At final, we need to have a conclusion that we need to ensure that all safeguards are taken and democracy is being protected, and we should be ensuring the independence of ECI, because a weak ECI shows is a very catastrophic sign for our democracy. It's a very dangerous sign. It would have very disastrous consequences. So the next thing, revamp of criminal laws. Center brings bill to replace IPC CRPC Evidence Act. You all would have seen it in the news. So on the last day of the Rajya Sabha session, in a surprise move, Amit Shah moved on these three bills in which there is a total revamp of criminal laws. IPC will be called Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. CRPC would be called Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. IEA would be called Bharati Sakshi Bill. As of now, the bill is not passed. It will be most probably it will be passed in the winter session. So it has now been referred to the standing committee, and for closer scrutiny and legislative expertise. Standing committee now will evaluate the various provisions of the bill, as happened with the data protection bill. Although the recommendations of the standing committee, they are not binding on the government, but bill has to be referred to the standing committee as a precautionary measure. So what are the new guidelines? See, when the bill will be finally passed from the parliament, we'll be discussing it in detail, but as of now, the whichever provisions are clear, we are discussing upon it. So for the first time, a law has been made on lynching. Supreme Court had asked for it like 3-4 years back. So in new bill, lynching is codified as offense with punishment not less than 7 years and also life imprisonment. Whenever a group of five or more person commit the crime on the basis of caste, race, religion, or disagreement, and if this happens, so this would be termed as lynching. The next thing is a very unique and a peculiar provision has been introduced, namely community service. It would be introduced for cases like small theft, defamation, minor offenses, leading to less crowding in the jails. See, we all know that approximately 50% of the population in the jails is under trials, means they are yet not being convicted, but still they are being crowding in the jail. So, अगर ऐसे छोटे मोटे केसेस के लिए भी हम जेल में डाल देते हैं लोग को, so it would lead to the overcrowding of it. Suppose in Bihar, there is a provision of a ban in liquor. There is a liquor ban on Bihar. But if you are found in the possession of liquor, you are being put in jail. So I think these small provisions will also be included in it, and it would be joined it would be the punishment would be you have to do the community service. What would be the community service? Community service can be anything. आपसे कुछ मे बी लाइक कुछ गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस का काम चल रहा है वहां पे काम कराने को कह सकते हैं. इफ देयर इज अ ग्राउंड बीन डग अपॉन, आपको वहां काम करने को कह सकते हैं. इट कुड बी एनी वर्क. इट वुड बी बेसिकली अ श्रमदान टाइप. You would be doing a labor work. Next thing is electronic FIR. There's a provision of filing EFIR being introduced in it. And for speedy trials, there would be trial by video conference. And there is a new provision that charge sheet for any offense should be filed by 90 days and the judgment should come in the 30 days. Although court can extend if you take the permission for 90 days more, so total 180 days. And the judgment has to be announced within 30 days. The next thing is sedition has been repealed, but there is a new law with a wider ambit. So Supreme Court has put a stay on Section 124A. We all know currently it has been put on a stay, but now government has totally repealed it. There is a new law which include offences against the state. As always, the vagueness never goes of this government. Offences against the state, it is a very vague term. Let's look at it more. Or any act endangering the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India with a punishment of minimum 7 years or life imprisonment. A new provision of including financial and electronic transactions has also been introduced. So this thing, so the new section would be section 150. Before it was section 124. So offenses against the state, it is a very vague term. What can be the offenses against the state? The term like national security under the pretext of national security, offenses against the state, these are very vague term. This should be defined as narrowly as possible. For the first time, terrorism has also been defined in the law. What is it? Anyone who commits any act in India or foreign country to threaten unity, integrity, and security of India, or which intimidate public or to disturb public order. So this would be described as terrorism. So what are the prima facie? What are my conclusion? There are a lot of vague provisions in it which might lead to arbitrary arrest or as per the likings of the government, which should not be done. A law should be defined in the narrowest terms possible. जितना भी हम उसको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर सके, जितना भी हम उसको रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर सके, should be defined in that way. So this was it. The next issue is satellite data heat sensing robot startups help 35 cities plug water network leaks and recharge bore wells. So recently this Amrut 2.0 mission was going on, and under which government selected 76 startups in some challenge. The government chooses startup to work towards its water security goals using new technologies, AI, etc. So recently there was one startup in which it used a satellite-based technology to check the leak management. It was in Udaipur using the satellite radar analysis at 50-kilometer stretch of water pipeline. It has detected 47 leaks, and the plugging will lead to saving of approximately 36 approximately 36 gallons a month and 80 lakh rupees as per the government. So satellite based technology अगर कोई pipeline है, so it might be through its sensing technology might be knowing wherever the leak is happening, so it can identify it without digging the whole pipeline throughout. They can dig at the specific place. There is this technology bore charger. I found it quite unique. I will be attaching a video here. It is using a robotic arm and a screen to revive defunct bore wells and to allow the percolation of the water from different depths. So it is used to revive defunct bore wells. I will be attaching a video. One more startup is being involved in which rainwater harvesting is being practiced using propylene material instead of cement. So these are the new technologies that are being used, which you should be aware of. Bore charger is the technology that you can surely be writing in your answer writing. Next thing is Pakistan puts on a hold multi-billion-dollar Tehran project under US pressure. There is this Pakistan-Iran pipeline, which is also called as peace pipeline. India was also a part of it, but later we pulled out. It was established in 2013. It is a gas pipeline. It was a plan of Pakistan to import cheap energy from its neighboring country, Iran. But now they have came under the pressure of the US government. US government has put the sanctions on the Iran, as we all know. Iran is under sanctions from US and EU for violating the treaties of its nuclear program. and there was this deal that they will not be pursuing nuclear weapons, but they have pursued it. So Pakistan has pushed for a force majeure clause. What is this? Force majeure clause is a provision relieving parties from performing contractual obligations when certain circumstances are beyond their control. So Pakistan is saying this circumstance is beyond our control. US has put a sanctions on it. So unless and until US removes the sanction or Washington gives a special access to Islamabad, it can't pursue the project. So we all know what is the condition of economy in Pakistan, and it is a really a big blow to their cheap energy needs. And if we recall back Chabar project, India was given a special concession by the Trump administration at that time to import oil from Iran and also to indulge in the Chabahar project because at that time also the sanctions were upon the Iran, but a special access, a special permission was given to India that time. Next thing is ECOWAS. What is it? It is a West African bloc of nations aimed at promoting the economic integration among each other. What is its full form? Economic Community of West African States. It consists of 15 members and mostly the Western Africa. It was founded in 1975 through the Lagos Treaty. It is aimed at promoting the economic integration among each other. They aim to have a single largest currency and also they want to create a trading bloc of various industry like transport, telecommunication, energy, financial issues. So these all they want to create a trading bloc among each other. It also thwarts military coup in the region and its force has been used in the wars before. So it also acts as a major negotiating institution regarding the coups that are happening in the Africa. Recently, a coup happened in the Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso region. In the same bloc, these all three are of the ECOWAS only, these countries. And now bloc does not recognize their government. They have lost their recognition and also suspended the three countries from their bloc. So the news is that this ECOWAS might be planning to intervene in the coup that has happened in the Niger. Recently, we looked at it, Niger, which is also the part of this bloc. So they might intervene militarily also, but dialogues are also open. Let's look at it, whatever the news is. But I told you that this organization was in news. This is a really important one because Africa is a region where UPSC has been quite focused since last 3 4 years. There was one question down there. If you can answer it, just answer it down in the comments. These are the countries. This whole region is the country consisting of ECOWAS. You would have seen Ghana, Mali, Burkina Faso. These all are the countries that are under the coup right now, and the new victim is Niger. So this was the question that was asked in this year's prelims. In recent years, Chad, Guinea, Mali, and Sudan caught the international attention for which one of the following reasons? Common to all of them. I have discussed it above, so it would be quite easy to answer now. So the last news of today. Russia to launch first moon lander since 1976. It says it won't come in the way of Chandrayaan 3. So recently what happened was after 47 years, Russia has launched its lunar mission and it is also aimed at the southern pole of the moon. Southern pole of the moon. The name of the spacecraft is Luna 25. The timings, the major issue is the timing of the Chandrayaan 3 landing and its landing are they are almost clashing with each other, but the Roscosmos has said that it won't come into the way. To explore why a lot of countries want to go into the moon south pole, we had discussed in the previous video also, but let's look at it because it is undiscovered. There might be ice and water there, and if the significant quantities of ice are found, they can be used to extract the fuel and oxygen as well as they can be used for drinking water. So a lot of although it is a very rough terrain which makes a landing there difficult, but it is a very prized destination. So this was it. If there would be any update, I'll update it next time. So this was it. Do write your comments, your suggestions, or whatever if you find in something useful, or if you have any suggestions regarding the video quality, please write down there. Thank you for listening.